Howdy, and welcome back to the Eternal Sonata playthrough. It is time to head to the cliffs. The Glissando cliffs, because apparently Phil ran off in this direction and oh dear, this is not looking good.
It looks like a kid's shoe. Wait a sec. Do you think he could have fallen off the cliff?
So, here we are. We're climbing down a whole bunch of cliffs because, yay! Now, it's quite fitting, so a glissando is a continuous slide upwards or downwards between two notes. So, obviously, if you want to know exactly what it sort of sounds like, Google it, because that's going to be your best thing. But I'm pretty sure that, yeah, a glissando is basically, you know, like where people just slide all the way down the piano. That's basically a glissando, and that's just quite a lot of fun. Obviously, it's quite a skill to be able to do that on a piano, because you've got to hit all the notes properly and to be able to go both directions. And often, obviously, when a glissando sequence occurs in a song, you've like proper got to do it in the middle of complex notes in melodies as well. So not only have you got to do this sort of cool looking manoeuvre to create a really specific sound, you've also got to do it in the middle of often quite quick songs, so you're kind of going. That was a really horrendous approximation of what I'm referring to, but you get the gist. Obviously it works because we're sliding up and down vines as we descend this cliff face. And I have to say, I'm sorry, there is no way that this child is going to have survived this, but there we go. Now these sweet whispers here, I believe, are the enemies that the Earth Shakers transform into when they, well, when you face them down during, well, in the, actually I don't even know, because these guys are Sweet Whispers in light, and the Earth Shakers were Earth Shakers in the light. I don't even know anymore. I get all confuzzled as to what enemies are what anymore, because they just keep changing. And also, I have to say that these moments are very, very terrifying, because you're just like, if I jump down this, how am I going to get back up? You can, it's all fine, but it's just a bit freaky. Now, this guy here wants to perform a session with us. Once you've collected score pieces, you can play them with other people. These are random NPCs throughout the world that will offer to do a session with you, and certain score pieces will attain certain ratings with them. So if the score pieces are a pair, then you'll often get like an A rank out of it. But if you can perform something that's particularly spectacular, something that may not even be quite as close, but it sounds really nice with the piece that is presented, then you can get an even higher rank, which is an S rank. Right now, we actually can't do much with this fella. So, of the two that we've got, it's that. And obviously, that sounded awful, and rightly so, we're going to get an F rank, because, yeah, that was appalling. But that is purely because we do not have the correct score pieces to get a good rank with this guy. I'm pretty sure that we won't have the right score pieces until, well, you won't have the right score pieces until you tackle Encore mode, which is the New Game Plus. So, yeah, there's quite a lot of instances of that where there are people that you can perform sessions with if you want to, but you might not be able to get anything decent until another run through the game when you have gotten many more score pieces. So my plan for this run of the game is to show you where you can get every single score piece that is possible to get during your first run of the game, so that then if any of you guys at home decide to play the game and then go on to do an Encore mode run, you are then in the best possible position for getting all of these extra sessions completed.
I'm ready to go. All I have
Now,
to
I
do is-
believe that we are trying to get up to, I think it's about level 18 with everyone, I feel. It may be prudent to try and hit level... oh no, level 18 is perfectly fine, because there's another dungeon after this, and also, you see, I was completely wrong with the Sweet Whispers, because whenever they go into the darkness, they transform into scorpions, because bats clearly should turn into scorpions
So good.
when they go into the darkness. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Fall into the never-ending depths of night. Shadow assault.
But
Did I make your eyes?
that was just a beautiful mess of destruction.
Great. That was perfect.
Now, obviously, if you want to get the most out of these enemies, then you're probably going to want to try and lure them into the darkness so that you can get more experience points off them, because the scorpion enemies have much... well, you can get a lot more experience off of them. So the Sweet Whispers transform into caravan crabs, because yes, that makes sense. And I actually don't know what the name of the enemy is that the Earthshaker transformed into. I think this particular guide that I am using, which is an excellent guide, it has not done me wrong yet, and I'm pretty sure it's the same guide that I used when I first played through the game, actually. So it's an amazing guide and I love it. But it doesn't actually have a name for the enemy that the Earthshakers can transform into if they go into the shadows, which I find to be particularly fascinating, actually. But that's fine, we're basically just dealing with Sweet Whispers and caravan crabs throughout the Glissando Cliffs. And this is something that's actually quite cool. So the Sweet Whispers have a move called Constant Shadow, and if that hits and is effective, i.e. you don't resist it, then an area of shadow will surround you, which means that, obviously in this instance, the enemy will transform into its
Did I make your eyes?
shadow form. You can use this to your advantage, or not. In this instance, this is actually quite helpful to me, because it puts him in a much weaker position. Well, not weaker, but it puts him in a position where we can get more experience points off of him, so totally fine by me. And to be fair, I'd rather face down Caravan Crabs than Sweet Whispers because, one, they're easier to dodge, and two, yeah, you get more experience off of them, so it's kind of a no-brainer in the end. Yes, I have to say, I'm incredibly grateful that I didn't have to suffer through too many battles in the Glissando Cliffs. Obviously I faced down everything that we came across, because I want to hit level 18 with everybody, as much as is physically possible. But most of the time that you spend in the Glissando Cliffs is dropping down from things and climbing up. This is a bit of a neat, like, nasty little sneaky drop, because that drop is the only way that you are going to be able to climb up this vine to be able to get something. It's certainly worth you doing so, because I'm pretty sure it is a good prize. But sneaky, sneaky, sneaky blighters hiding this thing up here. Because you might think that you've got to go down to the next level in order to get it. And yes, so it's a reed bow, so it's a more powerful weapon for Viola. So definitely worth your time. But it's very easy to accidentally miss, because you might not realise that that's where the drop-off is to be able to get back up. And this is also a sneaky hidden little chest with speed shoes. You see, I told you didn't need to equip the last pair, because you get a pair in here. And I believe we're going to give those to Allegretto, give him a bit more of a boost in terms of his speed. And yeah, we'll give Frederick a little bit more defense, because why the hell not?
Alright, let's go!
And already you can see the speed shoes are a godsend, because they really do give you that little bit of extra oomph to be able to cross the battlefield and get in those attacks. Because obviously, with the time, well, oftentimes in battle, especially when you're dealing with enemies at an early point in a dungeon, you spend a nasty amount of your time running towards the enemy and then taking them on, so you lose like a second traversing distance to get to them, and then you've only got 3 seconds left to get in your damage, and early on that is often not enough to be able to cause enough damage to kill them in one turn. With the speed shoes you do get that little bit extra distance to be able to start attacking sooner and therefore getting the kill in. So it's certainly worthwhile equipping those to someone to just get that bit of extra damage in, get the enemies killed off sooner, and then you are all good to go. And yeah, whenever I'm jumping off those cliffs, constantly have a bit of a heart attack, because I'm just like, what am I doing? Have I gone the wrong way? I don't know. And what's particularly strange is that some of these areas just don't lead anywhere. Some of them do. Like this one, so I believe if you head up... Oh, this one doesn't lead anywhere. It's very easy to get lost in the Glissando Cliffs when you're trying to pick everything up, because, yeah, it's not clear what's going to take you forward and what's not. thankfully, I think I quickly realised once I got here, I was just like, oh, this is where I was meant to be. Because I knew I was looking for a tree with foliage on the other side that was hiding a chest. But I thought it was sooner rather than here. But that's fine. And that is just perfect for Viola. Give her an arrowhead, because it just fits her character so well. And we are super close to the end of the Glissando Cliffs now. I think we've just got one more area to delve through. Maybe not even that. We've just got a couple more battles to go through. And then we'll be at the bottom, and all will be good with the world, because hopefully we'll find Phil, and he will be alive. Still don't hold out much hope, because, you know, he fell from the top of the cliffs. We've descended quite a ways. And that was by climbing down vines, and there's quite a lot of rough points if he fell down the cliff completely. I mean, to be fair, I'm surprised he didn't just land flat like the first bit. Like, he must have properly leapt off that cliff to be able to have cleared so much of the cliff face that we have been climbing down, because it juts out pretty far. So he's probably definitely dead, but we've still got to reach the bottom now, because, you know, we said we'd look for him, and if he is, you know, dead at the bottom, then we probably should, you know, find the body so that we can return it to his mother. I mean, he's lost a shoe as well, so that's not really helping matters either.
Go and wash yourself up.
So, yay! Allegretto is level 18! And that means that all I've got to worry about now is Polka and Beat. So if I could get them down to level 18 before the next boss battle, that would make me very happy indeed. It's not paramount because we've got our main heavy hitters at level 18. But it would still be particularly useful. Because, I mean, as I've said in the past, certain instances where you will be thrown into battles with specific characters. One of those is coming up very shortly, and... oh no, wait a minute, it's not even this one, it's the next one. Bloody hell. But one of them is coming up relatively soon, and that will involve Beat. So you definitely do not want to be leaving him behind in terms of your levels. Because if you did that, he's going to be extraordinarily weak come that battle, and that's just going to make it much more difficult for you. And when things like that happen, it's just not fun. And also, I think at this point I've kind of just given up with effectively dodging these guys' attacks. I was also trying to get them into the shadows so that we become caravan crabs, but clearly that just failed miserably as a tactic. So it was just like, you know what, let's just kill them and then worry about that later. Because I'm much more bothered about, you know, guarding during boss fights, because that's kind of more important. Because those are the times when they are much more likely to actually kill you.
Do not be ashamed.
And Getting Frederick up to level 18, that's probably enough, to be fair. Because I can just take Viola, Allegretta and Frederick into the next fight. So, works out fine for me. And, oh, I see a treasure chest, which you can actually get to from here. It's just a case of seeing that, yes, there is that little lip, and yes, you can travel along it. And that is a nice piece of equipment for Viola, so that she can get a bit more defense on her. But here we go, we are heading right to the bottom of the cliffs. Please, for the love of God, can Phil be here alive so that we don't have to go tell his mother that he's dead? Because I'd rather not be the one providing that news.
Hey, help! Somebody help! Thanks a lot. That was close.
Are you sure you're really okay? I mean, you fell down from pretty high up there, kid. Anyway, shouldn't you be getting back home soon?
Oh no, you're right. I really have to get going. I don't want to get killed by my mom right after having my life saved. See ya. Thanks again.
So yeah, he's fine, somehow, miraculously. Because really he should totally be dead for dropping that from that greater height. Also, I love that he'd lost his shoe, but when we went down and found him, he still had said shoe on. Which is just like, you didn't think about that one, did you guys? That would have been quite useful to actually have thought about. So clearly, that shoe was somebody else's. It was clearly like a little dog's or something.
Hey, thanks for helping me back there. Mom didn't find out. I really owe you one. Koto told me you guys are looking for a place to stay for the night. Since you guys saved my life, you can stay here no charge, on the house.
I mean, this is lovely and all. We get a free heal out of this and everything, but, why is the mother letting a child help to run a hotel? What the sense does that make? Especially a child who clearly likes running off and getting into trouble. I mean, already I'm pretty sure that we can see Phil out here. Either that or it's just a character model that looks remarkably like Phil. And also, can I just say, what an odd name for a character in this sort of world. Yes, Phil. Like, what? I mean, it makes me seriously wonder what his name is a reference to. I mean, apparently it's potentially an abbreviation of the term Philharmonic, which is a term for a full-size orchestra featuring around 100 musicians. But I don't know whether that quite matches up or makes sense to me. His friend Koto is a traditional Japanese musical stringed instrument with 13 strings played by fingerpicks, and as it would not have normally been found outside of Japan, it's unlikely Chopin would have been familiar with it. So it's pretty much one of the game's many anachronisms.
Hey, he looks like someone in authority around here.
You're right, he does. Let's go ask him if he can get us an audience with Count Waltz.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Hold it. We already know all about your plan. Let's keep this very simple. Don't resist us, and none of you will get hurt.
Now just hold on. Something doesn't appear to be quite right with this situation.
Hey, mister. We came here because we want to see whoever's in charge of this castle.
Oh, you'll see him all right. From your cell.
Beat, no! Hey, mister, what do you think you're doing?
Let's have a little fun. Just stand still and give up already.
So,
Bring it on!
we have our boss fight against this big hulking brute called Tuba. And obviously, I mean, he is a massive dick, so we need to properly beat him up, because, I mean, nobody, and I mean nobody, hurts Beat like that. That is our responsibility. Now, obviously, a tuba is the largest and lowest pitched musical instrument in the brass family. And it's like a proper big, hefty thing. It's quite an awesome instrument.
Look up to the light shining down from the heavens. Sunslash!
And what's actually kind of funny is that tuba is Latin for trumpet, so obviously you can see why they are in the same family. And actually, it first appeared in the mid-19th century, so it appeared around the time that Chopin was composing and was alive. So
You don't look so good.
Gigantic slam!
it would have been like a new, exciting instrument for him. It would have also been potentially slightly terrifying, which may explain why he is a villain in this piece. Obviously, you have just got to be slightly careful with tuba because he can cause quite a lot of damage if you're not careful. But really, nothing too much to worry about with this, especially if you've got Viola on board with all the heal arrows possible.
Did that scare you?
And I'm just going with the completely cheap tactic for battle, which can potentially get you in trouble with some of his moves, because like this one hits everything in a particular area, but really, he's not too much of a bother. And hopefully this should probably do it.
Did I make your eyes
Okay,
big?
never mind. One more time.
Go back.
We ended on a special attack. That makes me happy.
I guess I underestimated them. You there, throw them into the dungeon.
Cut it out!
What are you doing?